So I wanted to do my video on the epigenetic slash informational theory of aging. And the reason I'm doing it is because it's been a while. I said I was doing it. I read Dr. Walford's book on epigenetics, and I read the summary of Dr. Sinclair's book on the information. Well, basically, it's the Why We Age and What We Can Do About It book, or something like that, by Dr. David Sinclair. And I thought it might be time to actually just talk about it. Also, of course, I read the links that are in the description for more, a more scientific way of looking at it, not a popular writing type manner, but a more scientific way. They're mostly scientific links to like PubMed and the CDC and things like that. So, first I want to start by saying I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nurse, I'm not anything like that. Don't take my advice as medical advice, and don't take the advice of people on YouTube. I strongly encourage people to do their own research using their own faculties, and if they have a medical or mental health concern, to see a licensed professional for help, not somebody on YouTube. Okay, so that's out of the way. So essentially what epigenetics is it's the way that the cell, or the machinery of the cell, the RNA, reads the DNA, and it causes gene expression. Before we used the term epigenetics, we used to use the terms gene expression. Just because a gene is there does not mean that gene will be expressed, and it doesn't control how that gene is expressed. There used to be a saying back in the day. I think I learned the saying actually from reading Dean Hamer's book. It was called Living with Our Genes by Dean Hamer. And he was the discoverer of the now disproven gay gene. That's been thoroughly disproven, the concept of a gay gene. But like he pointed out in the book, the saying goes, genes load the gun, and it's the environment that pulls the trigger. Now, whether that's a positive outcome or a negative outcome has a lot to do with environment. Jack LaLanne spoke about how his father died in his, I think it was early 50s, of a heart attack or something of that nature. And Jack LaLanne, of course, lived almost until 100 because he got on the Paul Bragg lifestyle and fixed his health. You know what I'm saying? So the idea of epigenetics, in a sense, and Dr. Sinclair uses the concept of what do you call it, of a CD, a scratched up CD, and the laser can't read it. So the laser is your RNA, and the CD is your DNA, and the laser can't quite read it because it's scratched up. But we can buff out those scratches with things like resveratrol, NAD+, various other phytochemicals. And that's not the end of the story. Exercise, red light therapy, things of that nature. So our lifestyle choices can help reprogram our epigenetics so that things can be fixed. But I like the way Dr. Wallach points it out. What's his face? Dr. Wallach, the way he points it out is much more understandable, I think. And how he writes it out is you can have two identical genetic sequences, okay? And you basically how it works is, say it's like a movie script. Well, say the movie, I'm trying to think of a movie that they remade recently that's probably horse crap. That's usually what happens when they remake old movies. Okay, like It, the movie It by what the hell's his name? Stephen King. I'm not a big Stephen King fan, in case you don't know. But Stephen King, they did the original It. Now they have the new It. Same concept, same story, same script, same everything, but it's completely different because the director was different. The actors are different. So the director and the actors are the epigenome, and the script and the plot of the story is the genome. You can have the same genome, but yet a different outcome depending on the choices you make. Okay, now I did a couple longevity calculators and I put my outcomes in the parentheses. I don't take them too seriously because they don't ask, they're worthwhile, don't get me wrong, these are worthwhile tools to get a rough idea. I got like between 72, which is not good, and 90, okay, and the up and like 92. But the thing is, what you have to understand, they can't take into consideration, like some of the questions are, how many servings of fruit do you eat a day? I don't eat really any servings of fruit, although occasionally I'll have like raspberries or something like that in a smoothie with, some type of like lecithin or something. But they're not taking into consideration the 2 or 3 tablespoons of lemon peel I take a day, which is much more concentrated. The benefits of the lemon peel are concentrated much more than if I was to eat oranges or something like that, plus it has no sugar. So it's hard to take that into consideration. Then it's how much do you exercise and what kinds of exercise do you do? I do daily vigorous exercise. Even my stretching routine involves push-ups and sit-ups and things of that nature. So and I do over an hour of exercise pretty much 6 to 7 days a week. It's very rare that I miss a day of exercise. And if I do, I usually go walking that day for about an hour. So it's hard to quantify some of the questions properly, but they give you a rough estimate. Now, these things are based on your epigenetic, the choices that you make that affect your epigenome. Do you smoke? Did you quit smoking? How long ago did you quit smoking? How much did you smoke when you smoked? Do you drink? How much did you drink? Did you quit drinking? When did you quit drinking? How many servings of vegetables do you eat a day? How many servings of fruit do you eat a day? How many servings of starches do you eat a day? Do you eat meat? Are you a vegetarian? These things all play a key role in your epigenome. Now, what's funny is we now know through people like Arthur Janov, the guy that discovered primal therapy and how that affects the epigenome and stress and things like that, and how stress affects the epigenome. How stressed out are you? How is your sleep? These are all things that play into how your genes are expressed, how well you're going to live, and how long you're going to live. And this is what's important to understand. So the epigenome is hope for people that used to believe, oh no, woe is me, I have a genetic disease, and I'm just going to die of this genetic disease because it's in my family, and they have it, and therefore I'm going to die of it. Okay, that's not necessarily a positive outlook, but it used to be the outlook that we thought. That used to be the scientific outlook. And I'm not against genetic understanding genes and the genetic predispositions for diseases and things like that. I've spoken about that in past videos. It's very important to understand genetic predispositions, but only in as much as you can alter your environment and your choices to suit those genetic problems. And to understand, I do believe personality and I do believe IQ are very genetic, as it has been proven time and time again, and that really the only epigenetic factors that seem to matter with IQ are nutrition. And that's really about it. I mean, socialization, things like that don't really seem to have a lasting effect. They might have an effect in childhood, but they don't have an effect after childhood. So I think what I'm getting at here is you need to take into consideration, and I would recommend people do the longevity calculators that I have in the description. Have fun with it, see what it is. Maybe it will encourage you to change your lifestyle and give up smoking or give up drinking or start exercising or quit eating meat or quit eating dairy or things of that nature and get on a healthier lifestyle. But I think one of the things that's important to understand is genes are no longer your destiny. especially with things like CRISPR on the way and genetic medicine that could eradicate genetic diseases and things of that nature. Genes are not necessarily your destiny. And it's getting to the point where the choices we make really do matter. And it's showing that, heart disease, cancer, these things, for the most part, these are lifestyle choices that are predominantly responsible for these things. It's not genetics. Genetics are partly, but not predominantly responsible for these things. And remember that saying, genes load the gun. Remember that. The genes load the gun, but it's the choices you make that pull the trigger. So keep that in mind. And that's all for this video. Do follow the links in the description. Like I said, have fun with the death calculators and see how long you might live. Remember to take it with a grain of salt, and remember that these things, it depends on the questions they're asking and things like that. These are not 100%, they're not extremely accurate. I'll just put it that way. And like the one thing is do I have high blood pressure? Yes, I had high blood pressure. Yes, I'm on medication for high blood pressure. But as I'm losing weight, see, that's the important thing. Once I get down, I might shoot for maybe like 160 at 5'11". Once I get my weight down, I'm not going to have high blood pressure, because that was probably the biggest factor, that and my stress level. And as I'm learning more stress management ways to manage my stress and things like that, I'm starting to not need the medication as much. If I forget my medication for a day, my blood pressure is not necessarily going crazy, and I'm not getting crippling angina like I was a couple years ago, or like 3 years ago. But it doesn't mean I'm cured. It just means that, I have to do these things to get back. And that's the thing, is you do also have to keep in mind, you got to give yourself a realistic goal in life. You have to assert yourself with reality on reality's terms. And you have to understand your own limitations and live within your own limitations to have better chances of living to your maximum lifespan. And that's all for this video.